All right, hey everybody, trying to build a bookkeeping and accounting practice. Boy, I tell you what, that's one of the things I'm super passionate about. And the reason why is because I had so much success building out a little tax firm here in Nuance Financial Tax and Accounting. And then I moved on from my partners. Had some interesting stuff go down, but now we really love helping people with their digital footprint. So we build websites, we do digital marketing, we help people with their search engine optimization, and we do video at forwardco.com, but it's F-O-R-E. But today I want to talk about what is one of the most profitable and best niches to be in if you're trying to build a bookkeeping, tax, and accounting practice. What is the most profitable niche, or where can you get that synergy between low effort or medium effort and high profitability? I think when you're building a business, that's what I'm always looking for. You want to try and find, there's a scale, an X and Y axis, and on one side you have complexity and low complexity, and then you have profitability that's low and high profitability. You want to find the high profitable, lower complexity work for your type of operation. The more complex your work gets, the harder it is to scale. And here's what I really mean about that. If you are a CPA firm, rather than being an outsourced accounting firm like what I'm talking about, where you serve as their bookkeeper, their accountant, you do their taxes for them, you do proactive tax planning, you do their payroll. If you just decide that you want to do audits, suddenly you have a higher complexity system because you have government bureaucracy, CPA standards to go through, and you are going fishing for whales. Now, fishing for whales can be good, but the problem with whales is they make up a large percentage of your overall revenue. And whenever you have a couple clients that take up giant portions of your effort, your staff's time, and your overall revenue, boy, you lose one, you're going to be scuttling and moving quick to replace that client. And I think that's a risky maneuver. So just generally speaking, for small businesses, trying to find the lowest complexity system to make the highest amount of profit is important. Now, what's the niche that allows you to solve the hardest problem worth the most amount of money to a small business owner that can be that for you? And I think there's a particular niche that is incredibly important because they have a ton of headaches, okay? Now, real quick, I'm gonna cover this. Remember, this whole premise of how do you become a great or a six-figure CPA, bookkeeping, tax, payroll firm all predicates itself that your biggest advantage is when you handle all of that screwing around together for a client. You want to take the bookkeeping, the tax, the payroll, the compliance monkeys off the backs of your customer, of your business, and do that for them. And then a couple things happen. One, you're going to have some stickiness to that client. You're going to play an integral role in their business. Two, you're going to replace a employee. And when you start doing the math on what a monthly retainer can be, it's best if you are a better solution than an employee. But if you do the math on a $20 an hour employee, you'll see that $1,500 a month as a retainer is quite inexpensive. In fact, you might want to raise that depending on what you're doing, especially in this niche that I'm talking about. So the idea is you have to do all these together. You want to serve as an outsourced accountant. You want to only do business-to-business sales. You don't want to do tax returns. You're going to do tax returns for your clients that are your core focus, which is small businesses that you can do all 3 or 4 of these services together for a monthly fee. Otherwise, you will get too busy during tax season and you'll choke out your business. You'll dry your staff up. You will be wanting to kill people during tax season. But here's one of the best niches that we identified where it's this appropriate amount of complexity to profitability. And that is, first of all, it's a business. You got to be business to business. Don't do personal taxes. Don't get into estate planning. They shop with a whole other checkbook. Maybe estate planning, but don't do personal taxes. Nobody wants to pay to have their taxes done. And when it's their personal taxes, they really don't want to pay to get their taxes done. But if you can work with businesses that have sales tax issues. Sales tax is a monkey that none of them like to handle. Sales tax is an absolute bear for someone who doesn't know about all of this crap. People that don't want to they just don't want to deal with it. They want to go out, they want to sell food. They want to be in the retail game. They want to go out and have an e-commerce business. They don't want to screw around with sales tax. So if you can handle that monkey for them, what you'll find is in those sales tax niches, particular restaurateurs, healthy e-com businesses, but e-com is weird because a lot of the times they'll just use a tax jar or some of these other pieces of software that almost do it fully for them. But anybody who has that transaction, it can be all sorts of suppliers, wholesalers, whatever, a store, you get involved with those, you're going to help a lot. Remember, your 3 value propositions in this business model are help them mitigate taxes, help keep them compliant, and save them time as an outsourced employee. So if you're looking for a good niche to go after, I tell you what, anybody with sales tax is critically important. Now, that's easy for me to say. Here's the biggest problem about going after businesses with sales tax problems is that it requires prospecting. Your number one problem as an accountant and a bookkeeper is that just generally speaking, if I were to typify accountants and CPAs and tax people, you are a highly organized executor. You are not a prospecting machine. Almost never. Now, there's a couple of you listening to this that will be that way, but for the most part, you are not a prospecting machine. So here's what your goals need to be. Every week, you need to try and get in front of 3 or 4 people. How do you do that? Well, call them. Hey, see, the cool thing about your business as a tax professional, this is why you have to have it all together. You lead with the tax return and with trying to find out if they should be an S Corp or an LLC, or if they're using, lead with saving them tax dollars or saving them money possibly. And the idea is you got to connect with them to share what you do and find out what they do. Then you want to drive to that analysis meeting. The analysis meeting is all about getting the bookkeeping, logins to QuickBooks, something like that, and the tax return from the last couple of years. Get the last couple of your tax returns. Then you can go through it with a comb and find out, hey, is there low-hanging fruit? But for you to prospect, remember, these people have to go through this tax thing every single year, and none of them want to pay more tax than they should. So you should be using words like, hey, I tell you what, my name's Jim, and I'm kind of a new thing. I do this outsourced accounting, and really what we do is we focus on saving taxes. Like, we do proactive tax planning. We do your bookkeeping for you, and we just handle all that for people. And I'm sure you already have a firm, but I was wondering, could I buy you a coffee and just introduce ourselves, hear about your business, and love to rub shoulders with you a little bit. I think you'd love me, and you could be bold. I think you like being a client of ours, as long as you give great customer service, right? And you do things well. Remember, the lower you are at execution, the higher you have to be at likability. So make sure that you're always doing 2 things when you're talking with people. You're connecting personally and moving the ball down the field professionally. And, I just heard something at my church, eaglebrookchurch.com here in Lakeville. We had a guest speaker, and he was talking about the 6 levels of true communication, and the top 3 are pretty shallow. It's like small talk, facts, and then it was opinions. Then there's a line, and underneath that you have feelings. How does stuff make you feel, right? Which makes guys and accountants cringe. And then you have like your core beliefs underneath that. And I tell you what, if you can do this mix of connecting personally, doing various levels of intimacy talk with a business owner, trying to get down to who they are, you're going to have more success. But go after people or prospect business owners that have sales tax problems. Manufacturing can be another one because they have some hard situations sometimes for accounting. But restaurateurs need a ton of help. All stores, e-com, whatever that is. It could be your local car people, right? You got auto body shops all over the place that sell an array of different things. If you can get in front of them, I tell you what, it can be great. And even in the franchise models, I know that if you can win over 1 or 2 franchisees, a couple that we intersected with was like Great Clips Haircuts. Jimmy John's. We didn't end up getting that Jimmy John's client, but they owned like 15 Jimmy John's here in the Midwest. And what it came down to is they had a specialized accountant that they were paying probably, doggone it, $8,000 a month. And it was because their office was helping them digest all of these different sales tax and employee problems, which that'll be the next video. So I hope that helps you in your mindset. You have to try and get 1 to 2 meetings a day in your prospecting. Just call them, show up at their office, and go to the BNI meetings and get to know each person there. The idea is you just need to make a web of connection of different people, and over time that web of connection, if you stay in touch with people, will earn you the right to have the connection meeting and the analysis meeting. I hope that's helpful. Good luck in everything that you build, guys.